All right, we've got Matthew. You're on with Ethan and Jenna. How you doing, Matthew?
Hi, Matthew.
Hi, Ethan. Hi, Jenna.
What's up? How do you exercise? What do you want to talk about?
How you feeling today?
And mental health.
Oh, I'm actually feeling good. I went to the gym this morning, so
nice.
Isn't that funny how that works out? That you feel good after you go to the gym?
Yeah. No, I love strength training, right? So that's my preferred form of exercise. And like I agree that it does have a lot of benefits when it comes to stress relief and stuff. It's like a previous caller mentioned, it's like meditation.
Right.
But I have found that especially like when I can easily slip into this mindset of being so obsessed with like eating healthy and exercising that it actually becomes an additional stressor for me. And I kind of wanted to get your take on that.
So I actually agree with that. I get where you're coming from, because when I was doing like competing, it became a job. I had to set reminders, to make sure I was downing protein and carbs every couple hours. And it was like, I planned everything around it. Someone asked me to hang out late and I'm like, well, tomorrow's back day. I can't be up late on a back day. I have to be focused. It can add stress, which can be annoying at times. But I think unfortunately, the stress that comes with working out is better than not working out. In terms of how to deal with that stress, I guess the best thing to do would be try not to be overly hard on yourself or set unrealistic goals if possible. What do you think, Jenna?
I think that I have come to be somewhat anti like winning and losing. When it comes to the competitions where there's a winner, I think I'm just not a huge supporter of that anymore, since I've learned about how it actually, and I blame David Goggins. So listening to his book, he's introduced to me the concept of and Kenneth Leonard too, actually, of competing with yourself. And I think that competing with yourself is so much more beneficial and efficient than competing with other people, because you don't know what kind of training they're doing. You don't know what kind of history they have. You don't know anything necessarily about this person who you're competing with. And so when that person wins, that just means that in that moment, at that time, they had their variables match up in a way that they were just, in my opinion, luckier than you, or simply more capable to do this particular task with those particular requirements. But that doesn't mean that that person is healthier than you. That doesn't mean that that person is, has better energy, or more stamina, or that doesn't mean anything. That just means that in that moment in time, they won. And now, again, this is not, I know that I'm going to get a lot of pushback on the idea of me being anti-competition, but it's just my own personal preference. I'm not against other people doing it. I've just realized that if I compete with myself, I am much less likely to put that extra pressure on, well, but I have to beat this other person and I don't know what they're doing. So I have to make sure I go above and beyond to make sure that I do enough to beat that person, when it's like, well, why don't you do the right amount to make yourself, your level, your goal of fit. And once you reach that point, go further. And then eventually you'll just notice yourself flying past everyone because they're all trying to compete with each other. You know what I mean?
Well, see, for me, I need a little competition, like it.
But competition with yourself. I mean, it's competition.
No. I guess there are certain aspects though where I need competition with other people.
What? How do you explain that? I'm curious.
So, okay, to give you an example, when I was starting out as a DJ / karaoke host, I quickly fell in love with what I was doing. And I was trying, it was like a year and a half into it. And I, made this little crappy bar, like a sweet hangout spot. The bar would be packed every single week. And I'm seeing all these other like DJs in the area, particularly when I went to school with, that were just like doing more. And I'm like, dude, what's going on? What am I doing wrong here? So I turned it into a competition, not saying whether it's healthy or not, but I'm like, I am going to do this and do it better. And I put his logo. He was kind of like my nemesis. We had some past history though. And I kind of put his logo and I'm like, I am going to do this and I'm going to overcome him. I've always had competitive nature. I just want to be the best at everything I do or try to be the best.
So
I'm okay when I'm not. There are a lot of things, most things I'm not the best or even good at, but I don't know. Sometimes that drives me more, knowing there's, I guess, an obstacle in the way.
well, but that's what I mean is, so while yes, watching other people working out can kind of boost you a little bit more, right? Can give you a little bit more ammunition to put more into it because of just that natural wanting to beat everybody else thing, right? But what I mean is like when you internalize that, when you say, I did this amount last time, and so I'm going to make myself do X amount further this time. And then when you do that again, go further. And then you do it again, go further. And I mean, like, make it an actual active competition with yourself. No. Yesterday you couldn't do this. Today you can. Do you see what I mean about actively competing with yourself and not just?
Yes, and that would probably be healthier for me to focus on.
I just think in general, it's a healthier. What do you think?
I get where you're coming from, Jenna. I do think there is a certain degree of competition that can be, too extreme. But at the same time, I think there is something that we call healthy competition, where you're really learning from the people I use the word competing with, but really your peers in the race, right? Say someone, I'm using a dumb example here, but say someone paints better than you do, right? You say, hey, how did you get this result? Like, how did you meet this color or this style? And that's competition too. You're basically learning from them,
right?
In a way.
Well, I'm not saying never work out with other people or learn from other people or anything. I'm just saying that just to internalize that general concept. I'm wondering if y'all see the difference in what I'm saying. I'm hearing your responses, and to me it feels like you're thinking that I'm saying something else, but I don't know that.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. That there's a win-lose mentality, the all or nothing mentality. That's awful.
Yeah. I guess I'm trying to take it more away from the winning and more to what are you doing? And I guess you can do that with other people around you, with teammates, with all kinds of healthy competition and stuff. If you don't have that, you can internalize it.
Right.
So I hope I didn't just kill the conversation by saying that.
No, I don't think so. Matthew, what are your thoughts?
No, that's really good to. I mean, I've definitely looked at the people on Instagram who have their Photoshop pictures and who are probably on dozens of other chemicals, and said at one point in my life, "Don, I really need to get that." And eventually you realize, okay, you know what? I can get to where I can get. And if I'm doing better tomorrow than I did today, then that's a win for me.
Yes.
I don't have to be stressed about not going to the gym every day, as long as over time I'm slowly and steadily improving.
Right.
I guess
Right.
that's what it is that is what you just said, essentially the one day at a time mindset. And that is how you get rid of that anxiety of everything that you need to achieve. And so while yes, it is good to have goals, it is good to expose yourself to people who are capable of doing more than you in X amount of areas, so that you're aware of how much further you can go. But if you start off with the mindset, and you know, kind of going back a little bit to some things that I've learned from David Goggins is if you go back to the mindset of at the moment that I think I'm doing my best, I've gone as far as I can, understanding that is less than half of what you're capable of. Right? You go to your extreme absolute limit. That's less than half of what you're actually capable of doing. That is your mind stopping you saying, you know what? I'm too uncomfortable with this. It doesn't mean that you're not capable, right? It means that that's just where your mind wants to stop. And so if you can realize that and just put it into the current moment, this is kind of how I got to where I am in my life, just by looking at, you know what, I'm going to take today and I'm going to do the very best that I can today. You know, whether it's exercising, whether it's reading, whether it's, you know, working on my relationship or anything like that, I'm going to do the best I can. And then what I've noticed is that just, you know, sometime later, I just noticed that I am much better off than I was when I first started that. And I have so much less anxiety about putting constant stress on myself about never being good enough.
Yeah, that's something I unfortunately have to deal with too. I'll compare myself to others when I shouldn't be. And at times that will, like, I'll compare myself to what they have and feel like a failure because I'm not where they're at. And that is definitely an unhealthy thing that happens inside my brain.
That's what I mean. Like when they say, you know, when they first introduced the idea of the participation medals that they wanted to give to kids, for, you know, all the kids that participated in the sport, they get a participation medal. And when I first heard of that, I was in my very black and white extremist mindset. And I was like, oh, well, that kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? You know, but the fact is that the kids who finish do win on their own scale. If you finished the race or whatever it is, if you did your best, I almost want to say, instead of handing out medals saying, you know what, you kid, you did the best. I almost want to say, instead of doing that, ask each kid when they're done, do you think you won? You know, did you win in your own head? Did you achieve what it is you were trying to achieve? And if not, then fine, accept the loss. Take the emotion that comes with that and put it into trying again or to finding something else. Because if you lost in your own head, well, maybe this isn't the sport for you. Maybe, but it's up to you. You are the only one who can determine if you did well enough. If you put your all into it. You know what I mean? Am I getting way too like philosophical here?
I don't think so. Matthew, what do you think?
No, that makes sense. You want to do your best, and just curious about your thoughts, Jenna. I know you mentioned it's your mind stopping you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a bad thing? Maybe
No.
if hey, I can go to like 2 times of where I am, but you know, I'm comfortable here. I can stop here, and
Right.
okay, I don't need to be.
But that's what I mean, is that it is up to you. You are the only person who can determine whether it's a good idea to push past that point or not. The fact is that you are capable, and you can grow from that, but you also could be getting a sign from your body that you're getting close to hurting yourself. You could be doing something wrong. Like say you're doing something and you're doing completely the wrong form, and your body is telling you to stop. It could be because there's something that you need to reevaluate, you know, but that's my point, is that you are the person that gets to judge that.
Right.
I can't tell you that you didn't do good enough.
That's true.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. And Ethan, to your point also, just being a little bit more forgiving with yourself is a good thing, right? Because
I'm not very good at that.
You don't have to be perfect all the time.
Yeah. And that's the one day at a time thing is really what helps me with that, is I'm taking my shit one day at a time. You can do the same or whatever, you know, it's up to you.
Well,
anyway,
Matthew, I hope we were somewhat helpful.
I hope that I didn't just completely dominate that call. We really do intend to be good listeners.
No, you guys are always fun to listen to. I'm really happy that the show exists. It gives me insight into what like other people are experiencing, and kind of like see, hey, maybe I'm doing something wrong that I'm not realizing,
right.
you know? So, or maybe I can incorporate some of this advice to just do better in you know, my everyday.
Maybe, yeah. And let us know what happens.
Yeah, thanks. I'll do that.
Thank you for your call today. And thank you for, hey, it's been nice, you know, getting to know you over the past couple calls you've made on the different shows. I appreciate you joining the community.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Matthew.
I appreciate having a community to join.
I'm glad you're here.
Matthew. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.